It's Entomology Animated, celebrating the amazing biology of insects using the power of digital animation. Ding! Alright, so now I'm poly painting the surface, and I've created a mask, so cavity mask or mask by smoothness. And again, I'm kind of painting in passes, alternating light colors and dark colors to really kind of bring out the surface, and of course matching my reference. I really like how on the reference imagery I had this nice white boundary where those spiky bits are that really kind of frames the surface. Used a little mask by Peaks and Valleys to mask out the spiky parts. I'll do the same thing on here on the abdomen. So these are the tergites of the abdomen. So I'm finally getting around to sculpting the detail on this. And I'm going to do some painting as well. The problem with this particular organism is if you look at reference images online, there's a lot of variations in the way that the color looks because, you know, over time, as this animal grows and matures, it molts several times throughout its lifespan. And in that process, you know, the discarded, the older version tends to get darker in color and more worn. If you look at a freshly molted version, there's like light cream and green colors and really vibrant colors. Whereas if you look at an older one, they tend to be worn out, they have darker colors and different hues. And so you kind of have to sort of pick the one that you like the best that represents this organism in this particular period in its life. And since most of my reference comes from a discarded molt, it's going to end up looking a little bit darker. So I'm talking about colors while you're looking at this gray surface, and this is kind of a review, a lot of the same techniques that I used on the cephalothorax. You notice that I have separated the tergites now into individual pieces. So this is the stuff on the top of the abdomen, and there's a space in between them. I do have a surface that is in the inside of the abdomen as well. But if you look at reference images, that this abdomen can expand quite a bit, and so there is soft tissue underneath the tergites and between the tergites so that they can expand and contract as well. So for that reason, I wanted to keep them as separate pieces. But it's a little bit tricky trying to figure out exactly how they fit together, depending on you're looking at a molt where there might be overlapping pieces or a living organism where they might be separated and you can see that soft tissue. Okay, so back to poly painting. Now that I've sculpted the details on this surface, I'm dialing in dark colors. So it's a lot of light and dark contrast in various spots. I found this one picture of the abdomen that had a particularly beautiful kind of cracked look to the colors on the surface. I'll get to that in a moment. Right now I'm creating this underlying passes of color, again using a lot of masking techniques, so mask by smoothness or mask by cavity, and then painting while that mask is applied to create sort of this detail based on what I've already sculpted on the surface. So now I'm kind of painting in that kind of random crack-like, marble-like pattern that I've seen in at least one photograph of this animal. And you can see I have symmetry turned off so that it doesn't look artificial. And I'm also using the smooth brush with RGB turned on and Z-add turned off to kind of blur the colors together. So there's a lot of, you know, again, I'll paint in these as dark lines, these little cracks in the surface as dark lines, and then I'll go over it again with a very low opacity light color to kind of blend it in and kind of tie all these various colors together so it looks a little bit more natural. But I always love this part of the project because this is when the animal starts to come alive and looks less like polygons. So there I am just painting a nice light color on top of everything with low opacity. I want to do a quick shout out to Gorongosa Coffee. Normally I keep my videos commercial free, but I had to make an exception for Gorongosa Coffee. Really excellent coffee. All the proceeds go to support the people in Mozambique who live around Gorongosa. By ordering and subscribing, you get anywhere in the world, you get the coffee delivered. I get a couple of shipments each month. It's delicious, fantastic coffee. It's farmed right around the park using extremely eco-friendly techniques. The proceeds go to help a lot of things. They help the local economy in Mozambique, which I mentioned. They support anti-poaching efforts, so you're saving wildlife like elephants and lions and even little bugs like termites and all kinds of great stuff. You're also supporting science education and specifically education for young women. So it's a really great way to enjoy coffee while at the same time helping biodiversity, helping rescue the planet in a place that desperately needs it. And, it's a good way to use your money. So check out gorangosacoffee.com. It's really worth a subscription. Highly recommend it. They have a great website. And, of course, there's lots of information on their story, which is worth checking out. Hey, YouTube videos.